Shalom. So we're starting today our 5th session, and I want to take some time to review a bit with you what it is that we've been doing so that we can step into these next meetings with a more solid sense of the process we've been undergoing. We began by exploring the very nature of what it is that we do when we are involved in hitbonenut ruchanit and Jewish meditation. And the beginning is our grounding in the sense of MAKOM. MAKOM is really the most primal shift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, makes when He creates a space for us to be created within, right? There's nothing that can happen until there is that space. And so we find ourselves, as we appreciate being in space and having a place, more and more actually connecting back to the very most beginning, very most primal, very most primary shift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu as filling all and being all, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu providing for creatures who would be able to come into relationship with Him. Ultimately, friends, it's really about love. It's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who created a space in which there could be that kind of relationship. And so that is the first allowance, so to speak, the first, as sometimes it's called, vacating. But I don't really like that as much as I would say, I think the better way to describe it is providing context within which we can grow and come into a deeper and deeper relationship with Hashem who made us, ultimately becoming a loving relationship by virtue of, well, the work that we're doing with God's help. And so that is really what we've been working on, developing a settled sense of having a makom, of being in a particular place that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has provided me with. And we explored that from different vantage points, right? If you remember, we explored how the very first time there is a makom that is mentioned in the Torah, it's mentioned alongside another word, which is yikavu hamayim, that the waters should be gathered together, that there's a ingathering around makom, a specification, or like to put it more heartfully, an appreciation of the preciousness of your specificity, your individuality. And so yikavu hamayim lemakom echad becomes a reflection of the echad who is God through the echad who is you. Okay, so makom really is an intensification of that. So that's one shift we're exploring and working on. Another, if you remember, is we saw how this has everything to do with rachamim. It has everything to do with an experience of the compassion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, an El Rachum Vechanun. And that's the way Hashem actually describes Himself, specifically to Moshe Rabbeinu, after He says to Moshe, Hine makom iti, you have a place with me always. I am your place. And as we pointed out, it sometimes echoes back to us as Hine makom iti, that makom is always with me, saying about ourselves. It's a beautiful way in which a pasuk can have that double entendre, that double meaning, that especially when you're meditating around it, has a way of shifting around. So that when Hashem said to Moshe, Hine makom iti, he was actually, so to speak, by virtue of that, able to discover or have Hashem reveal Himself to him as an El Rachum V'Chanun, a God who creates a womb for us in His compassion, and a God who is Chanun, meaning always relating to our preciousness. The way Chen is a language of preciousness and dearness, right? Motzei chen beinai, you're very dear to me, right? And we saw how that's related to chanaya, to actually being able to be in a place. Okay, so that was our second aspect of the meditation. And then we opened up into kovea makom l'tfilah, in which we saw that you become, by virtue of this, and this is the changes which happen in you, an anav and a chasid. And we explored the meanings of those words, right? Especially in this context. An anav is someone who's able to let go of status seeking, of trying to be more than and overtake, and to just actually connect to the commonality of existence, which is shared by all things that Hashem made and rooted in God Himself, who is the ultimate existence, right? So that's like a beautiful way of relating to anava, which has expressions in life and in the way we behave. And the other aspect which we saw was to be a chasid, that you're someone who is connected to the chesed of olam chesed yibaneh, a world which is created on the just absolute and completely free, without any ulterior motive, a desire that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to share existence with us in a way in which He opens up our hearts to receiving that, and by virtue of that, connecting to that chesed and becoming a chasid ourselves. Okay, so that's the review. And what I want to do today is to simply share with you again the practice of MAKOM, being in MAKOM, and to do that also with adding for us a word which the rabbis use, which is shohim, where they talk about in the Mishnah, in Masechet Brachot, chasidim rishonim, hayu shohim, chasidim, these people who I just described, who were becoming more like, were shoheh. Shoheh means to pause, to hold still, as the Rambam says there in his explanation of the Mishnah, to let thoughts just simply go away, to become cleansed of distraction, and to simply be. So this has been an exploration of the wisdom of a particular aspect of what we're exploring. Now we want to be able to bring this into our hearts, to bring it into our being, to actually be transformed by it. And that's something which happens by virtue of hitbonenut ruchanit, of this meditative process and practices that I'm going to be teaching. And so if you'd like to join me for that, so press the link which is down in the description of this video, or is appearing now on the screen. Just press on that and you'll be able to move right over to where we'll be practicing the meditative work. I'll see you there.